Hello, this is Farrell Vincent with another Watcher of Realms video going over the story for various factions and heroes. And we're going to get to the Supreme Arbiters. I will say with the Supreme Arbiters, I am going to go through Alicia, the most recent hero that was released, and kind of put her story in there. The main reason behind that for me and Alicia primarily is because she is in a faction that doesn't have very many heroes, but also doesn't have a lot of lords, right? And so I do want to go through her story only because it might help to paint the picture. So, without further ado, let's start with the big man on top. We have Praetus, the Supreme Sun. The Lord of the Supreme Arbiters executes judgment on behalf of order, leveraging light of judgment to eliminate those audacious enough to challenge the order. The cost of balance is high. How much can the people expect to pay? Alistair the Meteor Sage said. Imagine for a moment that you receive word of an impending attack on a small village by a heinous force that has been terrorizing the countryside for months. If you reinforce the village with troops, the invaders will take notice, calling off the advance. But for how long, and where might they strike next? Alternatively, you could allow the attack to commence and launch a counterstrike on the headquarters of the invaders while simultaneously cutting off their retreat. The village and all of its occupants would surely perish, but the invading threat would be eliminated. Not an easy decision. Yet these are the exact kind that Praetus, the Supreme Sun, is faced with on an hourly basis. Long ago, an organization of guardians called the Collective watched over the realm, striving for balance amongst all of Tia's inhabitants. Then came the Great Schism. Many of the Collective took to practicing dark magic to combat the impending evils, ultimately forming the Chaos Dominion. But a far more principled group splintered off as well. They were known as the Supreme Arbiters. Praetus was a paragon of equilibrium, embodying unyielding loyalty to the balance and safeguarding of the realm. With an unassuming presence, he rallied a group of like-minded individuals who shared in his vision and ultimately helped form the Arbiters. In the first years of his leadership, Tia knew stability like never before. The Chaos Dominion was held in check, and order rang true. But it wouldn't take long for some of the Arbiters to begin questioning Praetus's methods. A shadow was cast over the Sun Supreme's initial benevolence due to his unyielding pursuit of order, and what had once been seen as dedication took on a more ominous hue. In his quest to remain balanced, Praetus became increasingly ruthless, resorting to extreme measures to curb even the slightest dissonance. His once loyal followers watched in unease as the leader they admired became a tyrant willing to sacrifice individual liberties for the sake of greater good. Despite all of his criticisms, the Sun Supreme retains his role as the leader of the Arbiters, unwavering in his beliefs. Kratos would rather die than give way to disorder. Love him or otherwise, he just may be one of Tia's only hopes against the Chaos Dominion. Hope. All right, Alicia. Alicia, the Skyward Sovereign. Alicia, now a member of the Supreme Arbiters, strives to keep Liberos and Mosun at peace. As their peace envoy, she commands divine lightning and renders powerful verdicts. Lend her your hearts, follow her commands, and she will lead you to glory, this I swear. Apparently Ingrid said that. I like how they don't put her title, though, and like everyone else, they put their title there. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good spot to read this, too, because her wings keep coming over and making it hard to read. So if you ever hear me say something weird, look at the wings. In the dense shadow. Let's find a different voice. In the dense shadows. In the dense shadow. Okay. In the dense shadowed forests. Forests. Why is this so weird? In the dense shadowed forests of the Liberos Kingdom, a legendary figure emerged from the ranks of the downtrodden. Her name is Alicia, the Skyward Sovereign, and the story marks her rise. The Liberos Kingdom, though impoverished, thrived on the spirit of its people. Alicia, recognizing the persistent threat from rival kingdoms, took up arms to defend her home. She became a guerrilla fighter, leading a band of freedom fighters deep within the verdant labyrinthine forest of Liberos. Her knowledge of the terrain and her strategic brilliance turned the forest into a natural fortress. Under her leadership, countless covert operations were executed with precision, and her troops came to revere her not just as a leader, but as a paragon of defiance. Alicia's reputation as a compassionate yet formidable commander spread far and wide. Her uncanny ability to inspire and galvanize her troops, coupled with her tactical acumen, earned her the trust and unwavering loyalty of those she led. Her band of fighters was more than just a military unit. They were a family, bonded by their shared struggle and Alicia's unwavering commitment to their well-being. Ingrid, Empress of the Mosun Empire, kept tabs on Alicia's remarkable rapport with her followers. Though the Mosun and Liberos were in open conflict, Ingrid envisioned a situation that might benefit them both. The Empress was constantly seeking leaders who would complement her iron-fisted rule with character and charisma, and viewed Alicia as the top candidate for a key role in the Supreme Arbiters. By enticing Alicia, she would not only ease tensions between the warring kingdoms, but also gain a formidable captain for the Arbiters themselves. As for Alicia, she knew that a seat among the Arbiters would guarantee better resources for the struggling Liberos kingdom, as well as secure its future. And it's so and so Ingrid extended her offer to Alicia, promising a ceasefire in exchange for her services as an arbiter lord. However, Ingrid also stated her conditions. Alicia would have to earn the title and the wings that symbolize it. Ingrid sent her to the most elite sent her most elite arbiter operatives to capture Alicia's most trusted lieutenants, challenging Alicia to rescue them before dawn. The task was brutal. The task was a brutal gauntlet of traps and ambushes set within a sprawling ancient ruin on the edge of Liberos, referred to by some as the Labyrinth. Alicia, undeterred by the daunting challenge, ventured into the labyrinth alone. Her battle tactics were ruthlessly tested against the cunning stealth of Ingrid's agents. Navigating the treacherous maze with unparalleled agility, Alicia outwitted the traps and overpowered the ambushes, using her most keen intellect and indomitable spirit to overcome each obstacle. As dawn approached, Alicia would emerge victorious, her lieutenants freed and her spirit unbroken. Witnessing Alicia's extraordinary determination and prowess, Ingrid became convinced the battle captain had earned her wings a ruling seat amongst the arbiters and the ceasefire that was promised. Though she now serves the arbiters, Alicia's heart remains tethered to Libros. She works tirelessly to ensure its prosperity. Her legacy as a guerrilla fighter has evolved into that of a master tactician, a symbol of hope and resilience, both on the ground and in the skies. Don't want to take a break quite yet, in the sense of I have problems with this. Okay, I gotta. Why is Ingrid giving her a position in the Arbiters? Ingrid's not a lord of the Arbiters, so why is she making this determination for Alicia and not Praetus, who, he's not, he doesn't seem like the type of person that lets go of control. Unwavering belief would rather die than give way to disorder. Love him, otherwise it may just be one of Tia's only hopes. Yeah, Praetus doesn't seem like the type of guy that would allow people that he doesn't put in as a lord to be a lord. So, how did Ingrid manage that would be kind of an interesting thought process. Since we're talking so much about Ingrid, though, let's do her next. So, Ingrid, Regalius Excelsa. Lifted by the stars above, Ingrid rules eternally as the immortal sun. Those who dare to defile her majesty shall be burned by her true damage and burning. Wow. Right. Okay. Shall be burned by her true damage and burning. I hate that description. A tyrant, a lord, a savior, she is the vision's vessel, consort to the gods themselves. Thalin, the cosmic guillotine. The Mosun Empire, a bastion of military might, both feared and venerated across Tia, came to symbolize humans' first rise to power following the birth of civilization. Since its inception, the Mosun have been ruled by an unbroken line of monarchs who oversaw its unparalleled ascent. But standing out amongst the ranks of nobility was one figure who towered above them all. Her presence, ambition, and magnanimity. What? Yeah, she's magnanimous. Got you. Regarded by many as a symbol of greatness, she is Ingrid Regalius Excelsa. Born during the height of the empire, Ingrid was daughter to Birgir, the visionary emperor and architect of some of the Mosun's greatest triumphs. Following the untimely death of her two brothers in the bloodletting, the Great War against Yalnor, Ingrid was set to be groomed for the throne from a young age. She was arranged to seek an audience with the eminent oracle of the vast expanse of the Mordeus Desert, escorted by a large military convoy. Though proud and ostentatious, the detachment was now pressing beyond the domain of the Mosun, deep into the wild expanse of Tia's hinterlands. This was Ingrid's first foray into Tia's foreign territories, and she would be humbled by the savage nature of the world outside the castle walls. Weeks passed, and the convoy arrived, but the oracle would only meet with Ingrid in private. The vision she presented was exceedingly horrific. Engulfed in an impenetrable wall of flame, the Mosun was set ablaze entirely, an army of skeletal warriors, eyes sullen, with flesh half rotten, crawled out of the soil and marched on her home. Wraiths emanating pure darkness screeched and howled, sucking the souls out of the living. And the body. Then she saw her father, draped in robes, fully consumed by black flame. What Ingrid saw that day would alter her fate completely. Though it was never mentioned again, a change in character was palpable to the discerning eye. She became obsessed in her search for power, which transcended the stodgy limitations of pike and shield. She became unrelenting in her demands for loyalty, seemingly intoxicated by a hungering ambition for militaristic might, regimentation, and prestige. Brilliant and charismatic, yet unscrupulous and despotic at her extremes, Ingrid grew uncompromising in her drive for greatness. Then came the fateful day when Ingrid was approached by Praetus, leader of the Arbiters. He implored that Tia was now faced with a grave danger, the likes of which humanity has never witnessed, and that in her capacity as Empress of the Mosun, she could play an influential role in upholding order across the land. Her commitment to the Arbiters would be anointed with divine power, transcendent of her corporeal limits. As the oracle's vision keenly flashed through her mind once more, Ingrid realized her moment had come and steadily abided. Offering up the royal blood of the Mosun to the heavens, Ingrid became fused with Helios, the celestial spirit, and together they set out to rule the sun and the stars. restoring order to Tia. No longer fully human, she adorns the suit of golden armor, a suit of golden armor inlaid with the crest of the Mosun, a crowned mask, and her staff of Helios, the beacon of her cosmic strength, with her outsized role and ambition that at times eclipses even Praetus. Ingrid envisions Tia, unified under the might of Mosun, extolled by the gods themselves. Kind of back to my original point, though. First off, why is she a watchguard or watcher lord and not an arbiter lord? I can't help you. Why is she making other people lords? Anyways, it's a little weird. For brevity and not wanting to make these videos super, super, super long constantly, I'm realizing we'll probably just be doing like 3 to 4 heroes per video, because if we do more than that, these things are going to be like an hour long each, or like 2 hours long, and my voice will not hold out that long. So I'm thinking that, who gave her a quote? Thalon. And then you were Alistair, and she is Ingrid. So let's do Eni. Where are you at? Meeny, miny, mug. Yeah. Okay, Fallon. All right. All right, voice for this one. Fallon looks like pretentious and elfy, so maybe we should do something a little higher pitch. Representing the iron will of the supreme arbiters, Thalon, the ruthless emissary of Gungir, will destroy each and every enemy marked by a radiant erosion without mercy. If you've seen him, it's already too late. Rogue at a campfire. Balance is never attained with ease, and yet it must be achieved regardless. This is the core belief of the supreme arbiters, who engage daily in an immortal war against disarray and flux. When a head rises from the masses, threatening to disrupt Tia's balance, it typically doesn't take long for it to be lopped off. But who wields the blade? There is no one as trusted for such business as Thalon, the cosmic guillotine. As a child of the Fae, Thalon was discovered by the Arbiters in a scene so morbid the taste of iron was palpable in the air for leagues around. Strewn about in a quiet woodland glade, roughly a dozen bodies lay, silenced forever. In the center stood Thalon. Where were the child's kin? And how could one so young be capable of such violence? These were some of the questions asked by the arbiters as they debated the future of the youngling. While some advocated for a swift, merciful death, Praetus foresaw a far more useful future. Under the guidance of the arbiters, Thalon evolved from a rage-fueled child into a disciplined executioner. When judgment was cast upon a person or group disrupting the balance of the realm, the guillotine would carry out the sentence dutifully. His eyes were the eyes of death, and that is what he delivered. Like a methodical bloodhound, Thalon served the Arbiters without question for many years, until one mark out of hundreds he'd been assigned gave him a hesitation. A child. Believed to be the subject of a dark prophecy, the youth was condemned to death by the Sun Supreme to prevent future ills. Whether Thalon was reminded of his own past or not remains anyone's guess, but he could not bring himself to kill one so young. Working with Alistair, the Meteor Sage, Thalon secreted the child away, shielding him from harm. The Supreme Sun was so enraged by the betrayal, but Thalon stood firm in his resolve, no longer willing to serve as the Arbiter's mad dog. Thalon now stands alongside the Meteor Sage. The pair of them intend on reforming the ways of their faction to lesser extremes and hope to prove that balance can be obtained by means other than bloodshed. Okay. Screw it. I got enough voice for one more. He's a bit old. I don't know if I can do old right now, but we're going to try. I'm going to take a drink. In a situation where maintaining order claimed innocent lives, Alistair clung to his fate and chose self-exile. His unshakable resolve empowers him to deal immense true damage that crushes the enemy's souls. He knew the price of peace was too steep before any among us. Thalon, the cosmic guillotine. What would you do if the order you dedicated your life to became steeped in innocent blood to uphold its cause? For Alistair, the Meteor Sage, his decision to walk away from the Supreme Arbiters did not come lightly. Yet he'd grown far too tired of playing God amongst their ranks. When the Arbiters and Chaos Dominion splintered, Alistair instinctively took up his staff with the former, believing their methods against disorder to be the most grounded, serving faithfully as the right hand of Praetus, the Supreme Sun. His wise counsel was often sought on the gravest of matters. But as time passed, Alistair began to see the cracks in the facade of his once revered faction. The Arbiter's methods grew increasingly severe, and the prudent wizard was often at odds with his comrades. Just before he stepped away from the Order, Alistair and a contingency of magic casters were tasked with destroying a large force harboring known members of the Chaos Dominion. Together, they would conduct a ritual channeling the power of the sun to roast the enemy alive from within. When the Meteor Sage discovered that innocent civilians were among the fort's inhabitants, he refused to take part. Tragedy struck when the group was ambushed. With one less staff in the fight, the arbiter forces were cut down ruthlessly. In retaliation, the Supreme Sun ordered the obliteration of the fort by the obliteration of the fort by brute force. A massacre ensued. Feeling responsible for the deaths and repulsed by the spilling of innocent blood, Alistair cloistered away from the Arbiters in absolute isolation. His departure left a great void with the Order. There are now whispers that Thalon, the Cosmic Guillotine, has abandoned his post in the Arbiters to seek the aid of Alistair, no doubt to the Sun Supreme's chagrin. Time will tell if the disillusioned pair can raise a call to arms and restore balance in Tia without sacrificing the innocent. Okay. Weird voices aside, and don't mind me, I have a flair for the dramatic. If you've never seen any of my other videos on story, you will understand. If you ever watch those. So we went through 5. The 5 we went through, I mean, it's really painting this one picture, right? Obviously, the Supreme Arbiters are supposedly about order. This is based on the general vibe of the collective. And I know the collective comes off with the Chaos Dominion too, because they were part of the collective. Gone, for instance, I know is part of it. So it's a little weird just because, we know a little bit about all of this. And again, a little strange with Ingrid kind of overstepping and making Elysia a lord. Like, that's weird. The fact that she was able to do that is very strange. I'm almost wishing that Elysia also had dual faction as a watch card. And the only reason I say that is because, like, if she had Watcher dual faction, it would make a lot of sense, right? She works for Ingrid. Ingrid is a lord of the watch guard. And so it's a little strange to me that plays out that way in this lore. You guys can't see me doing this, but I have some air quotes. So it's a little strange. I think we will, I'll take a day. I'm going to try to get my voice back up, and then we will go through the last 6, 7. I think we can get 7 in one day. I did record 2 videos back to back, so that's why my voice is a little shot now. But we will continue to do this. Let me know in the comments if you guys like the voices, because it will help me to kind of stay resolute in trying to like make content that sounds super cool, or at least nerdy. So let me know. That said, I appreciate your time. If you like this kind of content, please feel free to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out a lot. And I will see you on the next one.